And as a result, there are some skeletons in Brittney's closet that appear to be coming back to haunt her.
What if the very league screaming "no space for hate" is the one enforcing it with silence? What if the player being attacked the most isn't the villain, but the victim? Right now, there's a storm boiling under the surface of the WNBA, and it's not about basketball skills. It's about politics, race, biology, and one glaring question: why is Brittney Griner untouchable? The headlines should have exploded when Caitlin Clark, the league's brightest rising star, got targeted, not just on the court, but in front of live cameras. Trash white girl. That's what Brittney Griner appeared to mouth toward Clark after fouling out, caught in 4K. Now imagine if those roles were reversed. What if Clark said the same thing to any black player? Would she still be allowed to suit up the next game? Or would her career be over before the final buzzer even sounded? This isn't just about one slur. It's about the system. It's about why Griner can say what she wants, do what she wants, and never face real consequences, while Clark takes hit after hit with no protection from the league she's saving. And when you start peeling back the layers, things get even darker. Caitlin Clark isn't just a rookie. She's a revolution. Viewership is exploding. Ticket sales are skyrocketing. Merch? Sold out? Everywhere she goes, fans flood the stands. Grown men are lining up with their daughters to watch her play. She's not just a star, she's the star. She's already top 5 in MVP voting. She's 4th in scoring, and she's doing it while taking hits that would have sent most rookies home injured. Clark is the Jordan of this generation, the one player who could finally tip the WNBA into the mainstream. But instead of being protected, she's become a target. Other players foul her harder. They body check her during inbound passes. They talk trash before, during, and after the games. She gets elbowed, pushed, and now slurred, while the league stands by, pretending nothing is happening. You'd think the league would step in to protect its most valuable asset. But that's not what's happening, and fans are noticing. Let's talk about what really went down. Griner gets fouled out of a game, and as she heads to the bench, live cameras catch her clearly mouthing the words, "trash white girl." No one needed to lip read for long. The clips spread like wildfire. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, it was everywhere. And what did the WNBA do? Absolutely nothing. No statement, no fine, no apology, not even an acknowledgement. Now imagine, just for a second, that Clark had called Griner a trash black girl. Let's be real, it would have been over. Headlines would call for her to be banned. Sponsors would drop her. She'd be labeled everything from racist to irredeemable. That's how society works. But when the roles are reversed, silence. And that silence? It screams louder than any statement could. So what gives? Why is Brittney Griner protected at all costs? We're talking about someone who wasn't just in the news for basketball. She was part of a global political exchange. The United States literally traded an arms dealer, the Merchant of Death, to get her back from a Russian prison. You can't make that up. But that level of political capital buys more than freedom. It buys silence, protection, immunity. Griner has become a symbol, not just of women's basketball, but of activism, politics, and narrative control. That's why the WNBA won't touch her. She's too valuable to criticize, even when she crosses every line. But the cracks are showing, and they're showing fast. Here's where things get really uncomfortable. Fans started asking questions after Griner posted a topless photo to Instagram. Strange, sure. But what caught people's attention wasn't the photo itself. It was how Instagram reacted. Instagram's AI system, trained to detect female nudity and auto-remove it, didn't flag the image. It treated Griner's chest like a male torso. That's not a glitch. That's machine learning detecting something it's been trained to see. And that incident lit a firestorm online. Was it a one-off? Or was it the first real piece of digital evidence in a much bigger story? Now look at the facts. Griner's voice is noticeably deep, way outside the female vocal range. She's 6 feet 9 inches, with a wingspan and frame that dwarf even the elite women in the league. No visible surgical scars on her chest, according to observers and medical experts. And this isn't just internet chatter, it was building into something much harder to ignore. Let's rewind to Griner's detainment in Russia. For weeks, the exact location of her imprisonment was hidden. No media knew where she was being held. That's extremely rare for a high-profile case. Eventually, officials confirmed she was in IK2, a women's penal colony. But why the secrecy? Rumors circulated that she was initially placed in a male facility, or that Russian officials weren't sure how to classify her. In Russia, prison assignment is strictly by biological sex. There are medical exams, document checks, protocols that don't allow for guesswork. So what records did Russian officials see that caused a delay? What made them hesitate? And more importantly, what does the WNBA know that they're not telling fans? The WNBA has launched massive campaigns about fairness, equity, and inclusion. No space for hate. They plaster it on billboards, jerseys, and social media. But when one of their most protected stars launches what appears to be a racial slur at their biggest draw, they say nothing. The hypocrisy isn't subtle, it's blatant. Let's call it what it is: selective outrage. The rules don't apply the same way to everyone. There are protected players and expendable ones. Caitlin Clark is good for business, but Griner is untouchable. And when fans see this bias, they lose faith. They see the league for what it is: an organization more interested in narrative than fairness, more interested in protection than principle. Here's where we're headed, and it's not a good place. When leagues allow players with possible biological advantages to dominate without question, when slurs are tolerated based on who says them, when racial double standards are baked into the culture, fans will walk away. Female athletes deserve a fair shot. They work their entire lives for a seat at the table. But that seat gets snatched away when leagues refuse to confront uncomfortable truths. We need biological verification in women's sports, not for discrimination, but for integrity, for competition, for fairness. The WNBA's silence, its double standards, and its blatant protection of players like Griner send a dangerous message that truth doesn't matter, that merit doesn't matter, only narrative does. But fans are waking up, and they're not staying silent anymore. If you demand transparency, if you believe in protecting real competition, if you think female athletes deserve a level playing field,